So my family, all from Cambodia, we escaped the Khmer Rouge in the 80s or in the late 70s, early 80s, and were sponsored by a family out in San Jose
Mm,
to come out to California. So when we were first sponsored, um, we were brought out to San Jose, California,
mm,
and when my parents found out that there were a lot of Cambodians and Cham,
mm,
which is another ethnic minority group within Cambodia, um, found out that there were a lot of Cham people and there were a lot of Cambodian people out in Santa Ana. He packed us all up in the car and drove us out here to Santa Ana to live because there were, he found that, oh, there's, not only were there a lot of people
mm,
who looks like him, who's able to speak the language out here in Santa Ana, but there were also kind of like community center, like the Cambodian Family
mm.
and the mosque
Right.
and the temple. So there were these religious institute that were already out here.
Mm.
So of course, when my parents found out about that, he brought us all out here, and that's how we came to live in Santa Ana. When we first came to the United States and we came and we lived out here in Santa Ana, we lived in really like in an ethnic enclave
Mm-hmm.
where it was just when I looked around, it was everybody looked like me, spoke the same language as I do, and that was what I knew of Orange County growing up because we didn't really venture out further than the Santa Ana area, and so that's what I knew. I thought everybody were Cambodian or Cham or from Mexico for lack of I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize that there were others out there, because my parents, and living out here in this community, I mean, really, you were almost in a bubble. The majority of the Cambodian people or population are Buddhists.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they go for their prayer services, and that's where they go for guidance, for religious, spiritual guidance. And then for the mosque, the majority of the Cham people, again, they're the ethnic minority, and which I also belong to. I'm Cham, are Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
and as Muslim, we go to the mosque for our prayers and for our spiritual activity, wellness. In Santa Ana, there are, of course, the Cambodian family is really. I keep mentioning that not only because I work there, but it's really prominent in the community because the Cambodian family has been in the community for 40 years
Mm-hmm.
since when the first wave of refugee came to the United States. It was a family, a couple families got together to create the Cambodian family to what it is today,
Mm-hmm.
a human service agency to help people look for work, to help people translate letters, take them to the doctors and whatnot. No, I mean, for my parents and the community members, just kind of just how courageous and how strong and resilient we are, just to see what they have gone through
Mm-hmm.
um, just to get here. And, you know, and a lot of the elders don't really talk much about it because they don't want to rehash what they've gone through. But for those who did, you know, our generation is learning a lot from them and realizing, wow, our parents, our grandparents were very strong, were very resilient, and that they did what they had to do to come out here and they to make a life for them in the United States. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, can you imagine coming here 30 years old, 40 years old, and not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, not knowing the landscape,
Mm-hmm.
right? And,
Yeah.
and then making it and having your children go on to college and go on to, become, the nurses, the teachers, the lawyers, and the doctors. I mean, those are things that we need to kind of be proud of.